News alert here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. The Chicago Bears have cut wide receiver Ihmir Smith-Marsette. We've got some trade rumors and stuff to get to here in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to hit this news off of the top as the Bears tweeted it themselves that they have promoted wide receiver Isaiah Coulter from the practice squad to the active roster and waived Ihmir Smith-Marsette. Just going to react to this for a moment, and then we'll shift to the rest of our show here. Let's just call a spade a spade. Ihmir Smith-Marsette had chances. They picked him up after NFL cutdown day. The Vikings cut him. He comes here, mostly plays on special teams, but then due to injuries with N'Keal Harry, who had been out, Byron Pringle went on IR, Dante Pettis had been inconsistent. Velus Jones has been hurt. They put in Ihmir Smith-Marsette, gave him real snaps the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, fumbles the game away on a potential game-tying or game-winning drive. He also had a block in the back on a 52-yard touchdown run. Last week, drops a critical fourth-down pass that could have been a first down and given the Bears a chance to go win the game against Washington. He had chances, and as a fringe 53-man type of player in this league, you got to capitalize when the ball's thrown your way, and he just didn't do it. That is the bottom line, and so the Bears are opting to call up Isaiah Coulter, who had a strong camp in preseason. Give him a chance. I like the accountability. This is a new regime. You're trying to find out which players are going to be a part of your future, and it doesn't look like Ihmir Smith-Marsette will be, although maybe he returns to the practice squad and finds redemption down the road. What is your one-word reaction to Ihmir Smith-Marsette getting cut? I think for me, it's accountability. Accountability would be my one-word reaction. Let me know what your one-word reaction is to Ihmir Smith-Marsette getting cut. And now you look at the depth chart. So you swap Smith-Marsette out. Coulter comes in. We'll see what he brings to the table, if he'll even be active. I got to think N'Keal Harry is going to be active this week against the Patriots after some extended practice time since the last game. Hopefully he makes his debut. Pringle's still on IR, but Coulter had a strong preseason, seemed to connect decently well with Justin Fields, so we'll see if he gets on the field, get some opportunities. I don't have major expectations. I think this is more of a, hey, we're going to cut one guy, let's promote another guy, give him an opportunity moving forward. This is why you subscribe, whether it's small news, big news, rumors, trade rumors, whatever. Big storylines or even small storylines are going on around the Chicago Bears. We're going to have you covered, so hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Share that link below with a friend. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Win, lose, or draw, we'll be here all season. Don't go anywhere. The latest and greatest Bears news and rumors come here on Chicago Bears Now. All right, let's get to some trade stuff. NFL trade deadline exactly 2 weeks away. Could Chicago trade for Patriots wide receiver Kendrick Bourne before the NFL trade deadline? Well, the Bears will have an up-close look at Kendrick Bourne on Monday Night Football this week. And then you got one more game against the Cowboys, and then it's trade deadline time. So we'll get to see Kendrick Bourne this upcoming week on Monday Night Football. Yes, Bears in primetime once again. I like Kendrick Bourne. Last year, he was the Patriots' top weapon. He had 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, let's make it clear, he is not a number one receiver. To me, he's a really good number 3, an okay number 2. For this team, he'd be a number 2 behind Darnell Mooney. Off to a fairly slow start this season, but they've had quarterbacks coming in and out. Mac Jones got injured. Brian Hoyer got injured. Now Bailey Zappe's playing. So I wouldn't look at the numbers this year as like, oh, he's fallen off a cliff necessarily. The average is still what it was last year. And on 14 targets, he's caught 11 of them. So he's pretty much maximized his opportunities. And like I mentioned, you look at this depth chart and you're like, yeah, he's probably wide receiver 2 for this team. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing, but he's better than St. Brown. He's better than Dante Pettis. Velus Jones has a long way to go. He would be wide receiver 2 behind Darnell Mooney right now. Ideally, Mooney would be a 2. Kendrick Bourne would be a 3, then you go get a 1, then you're feeling pretty good. You're like, okay, that's a nice little receiving core. But as you guys know, this is a position that is not super strong on this roster. So a guy like Kendrick Bourne could be like a buy low type of guy, 4th, 5th round pick, bring him in here, give Justin Fields a little bit more help. I'd be interested in it. Let's see how he plays against the Bears on Monday night. Should the Bears trade for Kendrick Bourne? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. I'm certainly open to it if you're not paying too much. 5th round pick, I think that could be fair for both sides, but could depend on where the Patriots are too. If they beat the Bears, they're 4-3. They may not want to be trading away starters. So if you want Kendrick Bourne, maybe you go beat New England here on Monday. BetUS sponsoring today's show, and if you want to go bet on that game, you can do it at BetUS. Patriots early 7.5-point favorites. In Foxborough, that's kind of a big spread. I think Chicago can hang around. I do think the Patriots are and should be favorites. Chatsports.com/Bears. That's the link to go to get going with BetUS. Use the promo code BEARDOWN to get a 125% deposit bonus when you sign up. $100 down, you'll get $125 for free. Lots of extra cheddar to use this football season with BetUS. All right, let's talk about Lucas Patrick now. Is this going to be the week where he moves to center? We'll see about this week, but Mark Grody of 670 The Score believes that Patrick will eventually start at center for this team. And I'm like, eventually? We're in week 7 now. Like, what's going on? Here's Grody on this topic. He said, via the Bear Down Chicago podcast, I don't think they want to necessarily be in the predicament that Sam Mustipher has to continue to start at center. I think they had envisioned that by now. Lucas Patrick would be playing the part of center, and you would have Cody Whitehair and Tevin Jenkins, and Mustipher would take a seat in that scenario. He's talking about Whitehair and Jenkins at guard, obviously. Grody continues, says, I still think that's coming unless they pull a fast one and think Mustipher can slide over to the guard spot. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know if by Monday night in New England that change in the lineup can be made, but it's going to come eventually. You will see Lucas Patrick playing center eventually. Well, let me just say this, number one. It absolutely can happen on Monday night in New England if they want it to. They can do whatever they want. The Cody Whitehair injury should not slow this down. You've got other options. You don't have to put Patrick at guard and keep Mustipher at center because our starting left guard is on IR. You've got other guards. Put Michael Schofield at left guard. Put Ja'Tyre Carter at left guard. Hell, just flip Mustipher and Patrick. Maybe that in itself helps the process out. I can't imagine Mustipher would be that much better at guard, but my point is you have options. Leatherwood should be off the NFI left list too. What I would do in the immediate is put Patrick at center, put Michael Schofield at left guard. He can start there. He's got over 40 or 50 starts in his NFL career. This is not a guy that has never played before. I thought when he came in last week when Jenkins was briefly banged up and then Patrick was briefly banged up, I didn't notice a huge change with the offensive line. Michael Schofield can plug in and be fine. That's kind of what he's been in his career. A number 6 offensive lineman. When a guy gets hurt, he plugs in, holds down the fort. He's not great, but he's serviceable. I think Patrick at center and Schofield at guard is better than Mustipher at center and Patrick at guard. And even if it's not, isn't it worth trying at this point? I absolutely think it is. Who should start at center this week? Type LP for Lucas Patrick. Type SM for Sam Mustipher. And again, I got nothing against Sam Mustipher. He's playing hard. He's done what, he's a backup who's being forced to be a starter for a couple years now. He's just not that guy. He's a fine backup, I'd say, but he's not a starting caliber. LP for Patrick, SM for Mustipher. Get your votes in. All right, we've reached the comedy portion of the show, but stay with us here. Could the Bears trade for Christian McCaffrey? Well, betting odds actually had the Bears as like the 8th or 9th best favorite, which I'm like, really? I know that's not super high, but the fact that they're on the odds at all doesn't really make sense. And then our friends over at Fansided proposed some trade ideas to land McCaffrey. Stay tuned. These trade ideas, they're something. I'll just leave it at that. Now, Christian McCaffrey, let me just say this is a hell of a player. What I'm going to say during this section is not to say that I wouldn't like Christian McCaffrey. He's a good player. He's healthy this year finally, and he's playing like it with almost 400 rushing yards and almost 300 receiving yards and 3 total touchdowns. I think he would be the best running back on this team, but running back is the one position where you're like, you actually have good running backs. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert have been solid. Khalil Herbert even better as a runner. Monty got hurt, missed some time, but you've been fine running the football for the most part this year. Like, I know McCaffrey's a better pass catcher, and maybe that would help Justin Fields a bit, but this makes no sense. First of all, Carolina wants at least a first-round pick, and if you're the Bears, I don't know if there's anything you're trading a first right now for, because you're probably going to be picking in the top 10, if not the top 5, in this next NFL draft. So trading for a running back and giving up your first-round pick, that would be a mistake. And just in general, the Bears need wide receivers, not running backs. They don't need running backs. Running back is one of the strongest positions, if not the strongest position on this team right now, definitely on offense. You power rank the position groups on offense, it's running backs, and then it's like everything else, like receivers, O-line at the bottom, quarterback near the bottom because he's not there yet. Like tight end, a tick above that, I'd say, but still a huge gap between that and running backs. You need receivers. Offensive line, you don't need running backs. You're fine at running back. So what do you guys think? Should the Bears trade for Christian McCaffrey? Type Y for yes, type N for no, type H in for hell no. That's my answer. Curious to see what you guys think down below. And now let's just go through fan-sided trade ideas because this is just brutal. I mean, just wait at these 3 trades. They get worse, too. Christian McCaffrey to the Bears for a 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 second-round pick, David Montgomery, and Cole Kmet. So you're trading a first, a second, Montgomery, and Kmet for Christian McCaffrey? No thank you. Trade idea number 2. You thought that was bad. Christian McCaffrey to the Bears for a 2024 first-round pick, so it's not one next year. 2 future seconds, probably one this year, one next year, and Darnell Mooney. I don't think Darnell Mooney's a number 1, but I'll be honest, I don't know if I would trade Mooney for McCaffrey straight up. I think McCaffrey's a better player, but you don't need running backs. You need receivers. St. Brown going to be your number 1? Absolutely not. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey and a future second to Chicago for 2 firsts and Khalil Herbert. 2 first-round picks for Christian McCaffrey. I got to say, these are some of the worst trade ideas of all time. The worst. It doesn't get much worse than what I just showed you. And I didn't cook the books. These are direct trade ideas from Fansided. What on earth is this guy thinking? His name's Vinny something. I forgot his last name. I could put him on blast if I wanted to, but I think the trade ideas kind of put him on blast enough. I mean, it's just an all-time bad article with 3 awful trade ideas. Just horrendous. Bears are not going to trade for Christian McCaffrey. All right, if you're a real one and made it to the end of the show, we haven't done this in a while, type FGB. I know times are tough. 3 straight losses, but you got to believe. You got to stick with this squad. Get the FGBs going in the comments, and hey, at least the Packers are kind of sucking right now too.